Hello everyone, Cinema Jack is in touch and today I will tell you about the 15th and 16th episodes of the 11th season of the Walking Dead series. For a better understanding of what is happening, I advise you to look at the retelling of the previous series using the links in the description. Daryl and a team of Commonwealth soldiers investigate Carlson's corpse and the bloody aftermath in an apartment complex. Hornsby interrogates Aaron and Gabriel about what happened to Carlson's team. He doubts their version that the mysterious killers destroyed everyone except them and then disappeared. Hornsby orders the soldiers to comb the area in search of the killers, starting with Hilltop. Mercer's alarm goes off. The princess wakes up next to him and sees that Mercer has already woken up. She asks if he's okay. Mercer insists he's fine. Coney, Kelly and Rosita meet Eugene at his apartment. Rosita tells Coney that Sebastian is sending civilians on deadly missions to get money. Connie shows them a list of names that an anonymous source left at her door. They notice the name of April, the woman who was locked in the safe room where they received Sebastian's money. Connie says they need access to Pamela's files to find more clues. Eugene says he might know someone. Carol drives Judith and RJ to school. And Ezekiel joins her and thanks her for pulling the strings to reschedule his surgery. He asks to show her a new project he's working on, but Carol says she's busy with work he'd rather not know about. Hornsby and his team encounter walkers in the woods. He orders Aaron and Gabriel to deal with the walkers manually to save ammo. They kill walkers with Daryl's help. Hornsby's team is staying at Hilltop. Ezekiel visits Tommy in the hospital and asks him to perform a secret operation to remove appendicitis to a sick friend. He says he has secured an operating area where Tommy can perform the operation. Tommy hesitates at first, but after persuasion from Keel considers this idea. Eugene pays Max an urgent visit to the Commonwealth headquarters. Max takes him aside, fearing that they will be seen together. In an empty office, Eugene tells Max about Sebastian and asks her to steal files from Pamela's office. The cleaning lady comes for them. Max pretends to collect groceries for Eugene and leaves the office. Hornsby and his soldiers arrive at the gates of the Hilltop. He orders Maggie to let them into the Hilton so he can track down the killers who stole the Commonwealth property. Maggie insists she doesn't know anything. Hornsby confers with his soldiers. Daryl suggests talking to Maggie to avoid a deadly confrontation. Maggie tells Daryl that it shouldn't be like this. Yes, it should, Daryl says. He convinces Maggie to open the gate. Max talks to Mercer about Sebastian and asks why he is letting Sebastian get away with responsibility. Mercer points out that he may be removed from office for insubordination if he denounces Sebastian, which will leave the citizens of the Commonwealth defenseless. Max says Mercer has an opportunity to change the Commonwealth, but Mercer doesn't listen. Both Ezekiel and Tommy steal supplies from the hospital. The paratrooper catches them in the act. Hornsby's team is searching Hilltop. Hornsby discovers a hidden truck and suspects that it was this car that left tire tracks in the apartment complex. Maggie insists that the engine is not working. Hornsby connects the starter relay and starts the engine. To his disappointment, it won't start. Maggie orders him to leave before sunset. Both Ezekiel and Tommy are sitting in a room with handcuffs. Carol enters the room and tells the policeman that she can handle the situation. She informs them that they are off the hook, and takes Carol and Tommy to a secret veterinary clinic that he has opened, and brings them to the area where his girlfriend Teresa is awaiting surgery to remove appendicitis. Mercer apologizes to the princess for dissuading her. He says that he killed 2 of his people and hid it. He says it keeps him up at night, but that he would do it again. He wonders if he is not part of the problem in the Commonwealth. The princess offers to figure it out together. Hornsby stops Herschel and asks if he and Maggie have been on any trips lately. Herschel starts looking for Maggie. Hornsby takes out the baseball cap he found in the apartment complex and puts it on Herschel's head. It fits perfectly. Elijah hits the horn's bias themes. Patrolmen run up. The paratroopers surround Elijah. Maggie and Daryl aim their guns at Hornsby. Daryl tells Hornsby to order his soldiers to retreat. Hornsby obeys and leaves the hilltop. Daryl, Aaron and Gabriel are talking quietly around the campfire, realizing that the soldiers will not stop searching until they find the killers. Daryl suspects they have a plan. The paratrooper informs Hornsby that he has found something, and thanks Carol for inspiring him to build a veterinary clinic. Someone informs IKEA that Teresa's appendix has burst and that she needs to go to the hospital. Tommy says there is no time, and then proceeds to the operation. He stitches up Teresa's abdominal cavity and says her prognosis is favorable. Max visits Eugene and agrees to steal the files. Eugene swears to be by her side and they kiss. Leah cleans a gun in her camp in the woods. The Commonwealth paratroopers find her camp, but there is no one in the tent. Leah sets up an ambush, earlier in two of them. Hornsby asks Leah to hold the fire so they can talk. Leah appears out of the darkness with a rifle. Hornsby smiles and says that he has come to offer her a job. Hornsby walks out of a bombed house in Alexandria. We're going back 19 hours. Maggie and Herschel, along with Mark Elijah, leave the hilltop to find Lydia. Hornsby tosses a coin, and the soldier calls tails. Hornsby smiles horribly, looking at the coin, and the soldier asks what the task is. Horsp cryptically replies that they will find out soon. Eugene and Max wake up together. She admits that she is very nervous trying to gather any information about Pamela or her son Sebastian. Daryl, Aaron and Gabriel raid houses with the Commonwealth Army. Daryl says they need to throw them off the scent and plant a false trail, that there is an arms trade going on in Charleston and they need to check it out. Maggie, Herschel, Elijah and Mark are walking in the woods when they finally meet Lydia. Hornsby Lee is making plans to take Maggie out. Hornsby says he wants to see Maggie's corpse. Lydia leads Maggie and her small group to the shelter where Negan and Annie are staying with other people from the apartment complex. She tells Nine and Annie that she's going to come back to find Hornsby and end him forever. Locusts drown them out when they gather in a flock. Hornsby radioed Daryl's group and told them to come home. Daryl opens fire on the soldiers, and Gabriel gets a return bullet. Walkers are attracted by the noise they make. Daryl finds one soldier alive and points a gun at him. Daryl asks where Hornsby is, otherwise he'll let the walkers eat the soldier alive. The soldier says he's 10 miles away and is on his way to kill Maggie. Max is at work with Pamela and tells her that the Founders Day budget has a surplus of $50,000. Max suggests the idea of using the surplus to create a scholarship fund. Pamela immediately dismisses this idea. As soon as Pamela leaves the office, Max rummages through her papers. Sebastian arrives, upset that his mother ignores him. He sees the papers in Max's hands and begins to suspect her. Maggie, Mark, Elijah, Lydia arm themselves and set up the tripwire bombs. Hornsby's scouting party enters the house and puts them into action. Maggie tells Mark and Elijah to follow their footsteps back to camp so she can find Hornsby and end him once and for all. As soon as Mark and Elijah get up, Mark is shot in the head. Emmy comes out of the bombed house with a gun pointed at Maggie. Maggie pushes Lydia and Elijah to start running. Locusts are rummaging through the house, and Amy. Hornsby arrives at the scene and discovers a dead Mark, 3 dead soldiers and a missing Leah. He contacts her on the walkie-talkie, and Leah tells him that she is doing this task in her own way. Daryl, Gabriel and Aaron head towards Maggie and Hilltep. They stumble upon Leah's old camp. Maggie tells Lydia and Elijah to get back to everyone. They say they'll distract the walkers from Maggie so she can find Leah. Max shows Eugene and a group of people the papers she received from Pamela's office. They'll recognize April's name on the list. Appears from the keel and offers Coney to write a brochure that will tell about Pamela's corruption. Coney agrees to write it. Maggie sees Leah and starts shooting. Lee runs away and comes back. She hits Maggie on the head, knocking her out. Maggie's hands are tied, and Leahy says she's been waiting for this moment for a long time. She tells Maggie that she's going to kill everyone she cares about. Hornsby is now hunting both Maggie and Zalia. Maggie loosens the restraints on her wrists and slaps Leah in the face. They fight, and Leah strikes Maggie several times. Leah pins Maggie to the ground, and when she goes to finish off, Daryl shoots Leah in the head. At the moment when Daryl shoots Leah, Hornsby appears, and Hornsby also gets a bullet in the face from Daryl. Daryl and Maggie jump out of the window and return safely to their hideout. Hornsby vows to take everything from Maggie and Daryl. Pamela arrives at the office and throws a stack of brochures on Max's desk. The headline reads, "Pamela is lying to you." Hornsby takes over the ocean site. He gathers everyone who lives there and ties their hands behind their backs. Hornsby throws a coin.